Today we are talking about luxury homes in the area. I hope you enjoy this episode. It is one of my favorite topics, so let's dive in. This is Jessica Duncan's Just My Opinion, and I'm Jessica. There's no handbook to owning a home. That's why I go beyond the transaction to share my tips and insights for adulting made simple. Today, we are talking all about luxury real estate, especially in the Escambia and Santa Rosa County. So right here in the Pensacola, Gulf Breeze, Navarre area, that is the area I am located in. And this is one of my favorite topics. So what are we talking about when we talk about luxury? So first thing we have to do is define luxury. What is luxury real estate? So generally it's 2.5 times the average price point. The average price point currently right here in our market as of today is $349,000. So that would put anything above about $872,000 would be considered luxury. To make things simple, I'm really going to look at anything over $1 million. So as we're going through this discussion today, I am talking about homes or condos, property priced over $1 million. Now, what am I not talking about? I'm talking about actual homes or condos. I'm not talking about apartment complexes, commercial real estate. I'm not talking about large plots of land. They're going to be sold for development. I'm really looking at luxury homes and condos in the area. And everything I talk about and all the stats I talk about today are going to be from the MLS based on those. So just want to set that stage so that everyone understands and we're all on the same page of what we're talking about. But luxury is very different. It's a very different home buying process. It's a very different home selling process. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to talk about the trends and what people are wanting in luxury real estate in our area. So we've defined luxury, what it is and what it's not, but let's talk about the trends of what has happened here locally. So our market has changed so much, and I'm going to take us all the way back to, let's say, 2018, right? So where we were in luxury back then is very different than where we are now. And I have a funny story actually to tell you about that. In 2018, some of you may remember, I launched my Sprinter mobile office. It was a Sprinter van with a driver and a partition, and in the back had nice captain's chairs. We could face each other, TVs at both ends, so my computer connected and we could project on them and go over documents and do things right there in the van. Well, I launched that, and in 2018, I had people calling me going, hey, my house is only $600,000. Do you handle stuff that small? Now, let me put a perspective of where the luxury market was in 2018 and why I found that so comical. In 2018, there wasn't a lot of luxury in Pensacola. There was about 72 houses a year that sold over $1 million. 33% of them expired before they sold, meaning their contract ran out before they ever sold. So I have people thinking all I do is luxury back when there wasn't really a luxury market in Pensacola. Great problem to have, but definitely had to shift some marketing and make sure people understood I do help everyone, but I definitely know luxury. Let's continue with those trends. If we go into 2019, we had 78 houses. So 78 houses sell over $1 million. So we're moving up a little. 2020, we had 90. 2021, we had 218. So in 2022, we had 260. So you see how this trend is really going up. I mean, our market almost tripled for the luxury home market, or over $1 million in our market. In 2023, we had 250. And 2024, we had 227. So you'll notice that highest point was 2022. So what was happening then, right? People were moving from out of state. We definitely had a mass movement here from higher priced areas like California, New York, New Jersey, Chicago, all those areas. People were moving to Florida. It was a great situation. They were paying cash. They were getting here as fast as they could. And then we come into the 2023 and 2024 market, which were two of the slowest years in real estate for over 30 years now. So these were super slow markets, but we still had those luxury sales. So what is that telling us? The luxury market here in Pensacola is here to stay. And when I say Pensacola, I mean the surrounding areas, Perdido Key, Navarre, Gulf Breeze, Pensacola Beach, all of that. But the luxury market here in Pensacola is definitely here to stay, because if we just had 2 really slow years in real estate, but we still had substantial number of sales, not a huge drop. I mean, the highest point, remember, in 2022 was 260. And in 2021, it was 218. We were still above that in 2023 with 250. And in 2024, we're at 227. So you could definitely see luxury real estate is here to stay in Pensacola. So let's talk about how that has also changed days on the market and expiration. So I mentioned what a expiration of contract or expired listing was earlier, but to give you a little bit more context, what that means is someone has listed the property with an agent, they have a contract for a certain amount of time, and that contract has expired, and so it came off the market and it did not sell. Right? So that's called an expired listing. So if we go back to like 2018, the average days on the market for something over $1 million was 132 days, and 34% of them expired without ever selling. That's crazy, right? That's a long time on the market, and a lot of them are not selling. Now let's skip forward 2019. We went from 98 days on the market to 29% expiring. 2020, we're at 93 days on the market with 33% expiring. 2021, we're at 64 days on the market with about 12% expiring. Okay, so you see that change. We went from 132 days on the market to 64, and from 34% expiring to 12%. That luxury market definitely came in here. Then we move forward again to 2022. We're at 46 days on the market with 16% expiring. That's a very low expiration rate for luxury. And then in 2023 and 2024, remember these slow years in real estate, we still were not bad at all. In 2023, we were 73 days on the market and only 22% expiring. In 2024, we were 84 days on the market and only 25% expiring. So we're still way better in that slow market than we were in 2018, which I think, again, is just proving my point that luxury is here to stay in Pensacola. Currently, we have about 246 properties on the market, and the average is 136 days currently. So some of those are going to expire, and some of those are going to sell. And I think the reason why we noticed a little bit of increase on days on the market in 2023 and 2024 is people were overpricing a little bit. But also, I think in 2024, we had a presidential election. And anytime we have a presidential election, it greatly impacts the luxury market more than the other markets. Let's talk about why does that impact it. Well, the luxury market is not a need move situation normally. They don't have to move. Sometimes they do because of a transfer, but it's generally not an urgent situation. They are buying something nicer normally, or even downsizing in size, but getting something nicer. They're generally not, oh my gosh, my lease is up and I have to move now. They probably already own a home somewhere, if not more than one. So it's a different buyer and it's a different situation. They're normally not a need to move. They're a want to move to make their life easier, more enjoyable, something like that. Well, when you have a presidential election, it creates a lot of uncertainty in the market. No matter which side you're voting for, it doesn't really matter. It's going to create uncertainty in the market. And if you look back all the years that I've been alive and involved in real estate, every time we have a presidential election, we see a slight slowdown. Now, this last year, it did impact a good bit more than normal. And a lot of that has to do with people who can afford luxury are generally tied to business somehow. Business, stock market, they have investments. Their income is tied to something, even if it's large company bonuses, all of the stuff that we talk about in elections, whether it's taxes, tariffs, business, all of that ties in to luxury. So the people who can afford these luxury houses are like, wait a minute, let me take a pause. Let me figure out who's going to be our president and what we're going to deal with given that before I make this major financial commitment, because remember, it is not a need to, it's a want to. So what is really different about luxury real estate? I've given you a little bit as far as the fact that it is a want, but not a need. But there's also a lot more to it than that. So the way we show the homes are completely different. In luxury real estate, it is not uncommon to go preview many homes before the client ever goes through them. We may go preview them for a client. There's a lot more digging in on what's the situation with the home, what they have. People who are buying luxury homes don't normally have as much time or desire to go look at 16 houses in a day. So they want us to really work for our money, as we are proud to do, but go narrow down those homes for them. Go do tours of them before we ever bring that customer to make sure it's got the needs that they want. They'll also commonly send someone who works for them, whether it's assistant or a business manager, things like that. People like that, they will generally send those if they're not able to go and scout some of the properties for them. And so how we show that home when we represent the sellers is very different. So if a property here locally is priced over $1 million, there is a reason why it's priced over $1 million. There is some sort of value there that needs to be explained. So when we list $1 million property, we go to every single showing, even if the buyer's agent is there. We want to make sure we're walking that potential buyer through the house, pointing out the reasons for that price, the things and added value that it has. So in luxury, there's a lot of things that you can't sometimes just look at and see. You need to understand it. It has to be explained. You may not notice that it does have electronic blinds and an integrated home management system that controls all of the security cameras and the gate and things like that. There's a lot more detail that goes to it. You can't look at the pool and know it has a heater and a chiller on it. There's just a lot of added extras that come with $1 million house or $1 million plus that really need to be explained. So we like to walk the customer through the house, explaining all of that. We then also want to be able to answer their questions, right? So with luxury, time is money. A lot of times they don't have a lot of time. We don't want them to get frustrated because another agent is there showing them the house, such as the buyer's agent, and they don't know these questions about the house. They can't answer them. So we want to be there to answer them. Now, we're not hovering over them, obviously. We will show them around the house, give them a tour, answer their questions, step away, let them walk through again, and then come back and see if there's any other questions that we can answer. So that's a very different process than a non-luxury buyer. And also what's different with these luxury buyers, what they're wanting in the household is very different. A lot of times it's about lifestyle. It's about creating balance in their life. They probably work hard and have a very stressful life or a very stressful day, or even if they don't, they can afford to have the lifestyle they want. So they want that balance that's going to create downtime and be able to really enjoy that and bring them back to that serene place, whether that's a view, whether that's a workout room, just convenience of location of the house, conveniences built in within the house. And we're going to talk about more of those in a little bit. The other thing that's very different about these luxury home sales is a lot of times the furniture is included. The furniture has been custom built many a times or custom ordered for the property. So it's not unusual to have a property that is either coming with a large portion of the furniture, certain pieces of the furniture, or even all of it. A large dining room table being built for a very large room, and it was custom built for that house. That's not uncommon for that to be there. So luxury, you're going to see a little bit more of that with the furniture stand. You're also going to see the transition from the old owner to the new owner a little bit different. So there's a lot of technology in these houses sometimes. So whether the old owner or even a lot of times what we will do is call in whoever wired the house to come in and give the buyers a new tutorial on the house, set up all their passwords to get into the alarm system. So that's a little different. On a resale home that's not luxury, that is not a step that's normally done, but that is a step that we want to do with these luxury home sales, and we will provide. Another thing is the way we show the houses and even the closing sometimes is a little different. Sometimes we have the privilege of working with celebrities or very well-known people, and there are non-disclosures involved in that. And so everyone will sign a non-disclosure, whether it's the listing agent, the buying agent, the title company. So we have ways of even being discreet on that. The way we write up the contracts can be different. We may write it up under a business name or even another individual's name, but then have the right to transfer that purchase contract right at the end to a new name, just to protect the privacy of the person buying the house. Sometimes we'll even do a non-disclosure with the title company because the title company is processing that, and we want to make sure that everyone keeps quiet on that. Actually, my entire team signs a non-disclosure. When they join my team, they have to sign a non-disclosure that they won't talk about any of our clients' information. And the reason why is because I know how to be discreet, and I want to make sure they do as well. We get pretty involved in people's finances and their life, and I don't want to ever worry about that being disclosed on the streets. So we're very private in that. My team understands it. We work with an amazing title company in town that understands it. So there's a lot of non-disclosures and confidential information that goes into luxury, and that's just another level of service that's provided on that. Another thing that's different about luxury is the financing. Financing is very different on a luxury property versus a regular property. If you are getting over $1 million, you're not doing an FHA loan with 3.5% down. The interest rates are very different. It's considered a jumbo loan, so they're a little bit higher. Thankfully, especially in our area, with the amount of veterans we have here, you can use those VA loans, though, with no limit on them, which still have a great interest rate. So if you're a veteran and you're buying over $1 million, that is definitely normally the best way to go is use that VA loan. But there's a lot of different financing that is unique to luxury. We have special programs for doctors and things like that. So the financing is different. The way we process the sale is different. The way we go look at the houses is different. As you can tell, everything about luxury is completely different. But man, is it so much fun. You know, I can't help but to enjoy when I get to go look at these beautiful houses. Of course, my husband sometimes I think hates it when I come home and like, oh, we should add this to the house. Drives him crazy. But we get to see some of the most beautiful homes in the area. And it's funny because there are sometimes the most expensive is not the most beautiful. One of the nicest condos in the area that I have ever seen, out of all the condos I've been to, there is one that just stole my heart. It's absolutely gorgeous. It is very discreet. You probably wouldn't even ever know it was as nice as it was. It was tucked away, actually in Perdido Key, and it is not the most expensive at all, but it was definitely the nicest as far as what I like. And that is the thing with luxury. It's all about a personal preference. It's all about what's going to make your life more enjoyable. Financials are very different when buying these luxury properties as well. We talked about the financing part, but let's talk about what goes into maintain these homes, what the annual cost is. A lot of times we are having to work with customers to provide those services, whether it's setting up landscaping, pool service, even cleaning services, or if it's going to be a second home that they don't use as often, services that will come in and put up hurricane shutters and things like that if it is needed. So it's a different level of financial commitment on these homes, and our services are a different level as well, and the hand-holding that we do to get through them. Also, with the insurance, they're a lot different as far as, you know, yes, they are valued more, but when you start talking about a lot of luxury in our market, you are talking about a lot of waterfront. So the policies are written very different on the waterfront. If you're in a freestanding home or single family home on the water, a lot of times your wind insurance is a whole separate policy. So you may have a homeowner's policy, a wind policy, a flood policy. And then if you have some high valued things in there, you may need to do some riders on those for jewelry, luxury cars, antique cars, things like that. If you have a lot more electronics, and also more liability. So it's really important to get in with a good insurance agent, which of course we refer you to really make sure you're covering yourself in that way and all the financials dealing with that luxury property as well. So let's talk about the trends that buyers are really wanting in luxury right now and where we see them going throughout the year. So first thing is they want double everything in the kitchen. I mean, double everything. They want 2 ovens, they want 2 fridges, 2 freezers, 2 ranges, 2 islands, so double everything in that kitchen. If they are going to be entertaining, they want to be able to have the space to store, cook, and produce that at a large amount. They also want working pantries. So what do I mean by a working pantry? It's more like a large walk-in pantry. Has a sink in it. It has normally some sort of wine chiller, things like that. But it also has countertop space and appliance garages where gadgets and things like that can be stored. You don't want to have to pull them out to use them, whether it's your blender for your protein shake in the morning or your toaster, your coffee pot. They're tucked away so they can't be seen, but yet you don't have to move them to use them. And as we're talking about those protein shakes and coffee, one of the desires right now that we're seeing is those beverage stations. So if you think back years ago, it was a wet bar, we wanted a liquor bar. We've gotten a little healthier over the years. So now what people are looking for is maybe that coffee bar that is in their primary bedroom that they can wake up right away, get their coffee, enjoy that while they're getting ready in the morning, or even a protein station, making it very simple for them to make their protein shakes in the morning, maybe after their workout in the gym. So we're definitely seeing that need for these certain areas that necessarily are bars, but they aren't necessarily liquor bars. So how does that look different, right? So in a liquor bar, we may have a wine chiller or wine fridge or a craft beer fridge that are at a certain temperatures, where with a protein station, you're going to want a different type of fridge that you can actually put milk and larger containers and things like that in. So it's going to look a little bit different, but very similar with the sink, some style of fridge, and some ability to make your life easier. When it comes to luxury, the trend is definitely entertainment. You want to be able to entertain in your home, and you want your home to provide the opportunities to do that and gather at a whole next level, right? Whether that's an outdoor kitchen and dining area outside, or large entertainment rooms and movie theaters, depending on what you personally are into. There's a desire, though, to have these entertainment spaces that make entertaining very easy and smooth. The luxury clientele now really understands and values community and connection with others. And so that's why you're seeing these larger kitchens with double everything, and these gathering spaces bring a lot of value. Some of these outdoor kitchens right now are absolutely gorgeous, overlooking a pool, overlooking the water with beautiful sunsets. Some of the outdoor kitchens are nicer than many indoor kitchens, but they really allow you to gather in that space and entertain and value that community and relationships. And one of my favorite trends, I just completely redid my bathroom in this style, is a spa bathroom. So think of a primary bath being inspired by your favorite spa. So we're seeing a lot more steam showers, which are definitely wonderful. They definitely help whether you're just having a rough day, you're sick, had a hard workout. Overall, they just general health, a steam shower is great for you. So we're seeing a lot more steam showers. We're also seeing a lot more built-in saunas. So a lot of people want to include that sauna in that spa-like bathroom. Of course, the trends that we've been seeing for years with heated floors and things like that continue, but I think we'll continue to see even more spa-like features as we move forward. So as you can see, luxury real estate is definitely here to stay in the Pensacola area. I think it will continue to grow. I think we will continue to see these trends. It is a little different than regular real estate, but that's one of the reasons why we love it. It gives us the opportunity to provide a whole nother level of service. So, of course, our home hack this week must be something about luxury. So what is a home hack? It is just something that makes your life easier, more enjoyable, whether that's an app, a device, something cool I'm into in the house right now. So it's got to be luxury when we're talking luxury, right? So one of my favorite luxury things that we see in a lot of the homes are the Lutron electronic blinds. And I'm sure there's other brands that they make them. Those are the ones that I'm just most familiar with. They are custom made blinds that work electronically. So imagine setting your blinds to be able to rise at 7 a.m. so the sun starts to come in and you slowly wake up. Or maybe walking in the evening when that afternoon sun is coming down and you want to hit a button and all of the blinds on one side of the house completely come down or halfway down. That is what they have the ability to do. It is definitely a luxury item that I enjoy thoroughly. I think it has a lot of uses and pretty common in most of the luxury houses we sell. So check out Lutron blinds. That is our home hack of the week. I hope you enjoyed it. This has been just my opinion. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have a question about luxury or anything else, please DM me. If you would like to experience our black car, white glove service of luxury, obviously DM me, reach out to me. We'd love to provide that to you. Whether it is here or anywhere in the world, we will set you up with a really good agent if it's not in our market to make sure you get that luxury service that you deserve. We're the Jessica Duncan team. We are chosen for our service, but known for our results. Make sure you subscribe or follow depending on what podcast player you're listening to so you never miss an episode. Thanks for joining us today. And remember, it's just my opinion for adulting made simple.